Why you do this? Understand yourself. There are moments when your mind suddenly goes quiet. Your words disappear, your emotions flatten or spike, your body feels distant, heavy, or frozen. It can happen in the middle of a conversation, during conflict, or even when nothing obvious feels wrong. It feels sudden, confusing, and out of your control. You might tell yourself you should push through it, explain yourself better, or try harder to stay present. But the harder you try, the more your system shuts down. What looks like failure from the outside is actually something much older and far more intelligent happening inside you. Survival mode often arrives without warning. One second you are thinking clearly, the next you feel blank, overwhelmed, or disconnected. Your body feels tight or numb, your thoughts slow or vanish. You may struggle to speak, focus, or even feel like yourself anymore. Afterward, you might replay the moment, wondering why you froze, why you couldn't respond, or why you felt so small. You may assume something is wrong with you, but what happened wasn't random. It followed a pattern your nervous system learned long before you had language. Survival mode is not a personality flaw. It is a biological response. When your nervous system detects threat, it prioritizes protection over expression. Thinking, feeling, and communicating all require energy. When safety feels uncertain, your system redirects that energy toward keeping you alive instead. This happens automatically, without conscious choice. Your body is not checking facts or logic. It is responding to perceived danger based on past experience. When threat feels internal, emotional, or relational, the response can look quiet rather than dramatic, but the mechanism is the same. For many people, the trigger is not loud or obvious. It can be a tone of voice, a facial expression, a pause, or a subtle shift in energy. Something in your environment reminds your nervous system of a time when expression was unsafe or costly. Your system doesn't wait to confirm the danger. It responds immediately. That is why survival mode can feel disproportionate to the moment. The intensity is not about now. It is about then. Your body reacts to memory faster than your mind can contextualize it. Once survival mode activates, your nervous system shifts states. Blood flow changes, muscles tense or collapse, breathing becomes shallow or held. Cognitive functions like language, reasoning, and emotional nuance go offline. This is not weakness, it is efficiency. Your system is conserving resources. Expression becomes secondary to protection. That is why you might feel blank, foggy, or stuck. Your body is doing exactly what it was designed to do when it believes safety is at risk, even if the threat is no longer real. From the inside, survival mode often feels like overwhelm. Too much sensation, too many emotions, too many internal signals at once. When your system cannot process everything safely, it simplifies. It narrows awareness. It reduces output. Shutdown is not collapse, it is containment. This is why pushing yourself rarely works. You cannot think your way out of a nervous system state. The more pressure you apply, the more your system interprets danger. What looks like resistance is actually your body asking for less, not more. At some point, your nervous system learned that expression did not lead to safety. Maybe it led to punishment, rejection, overwhelm, or being ignored. Maybe you had to stay quiet, stay small, or stay alert to survive emotionally. Your system adapted to that reality. Those adaptations made sense at the time. They kept you safe, but nervous systems learn through repetition, not updates. If the environment changes without retraining the system, the old responses remain. Survival mode continues to activate even when the original danger is gone. Over time, survival responses can become identity. You may see yourself as withdrawn, overly sensitive, bad under pressure, or emotionally unavailable. But these labels describe behavior, not cause. They overlook the intelligence behind the response. You are not broken. You are patterned. Your nervous system organized itself around safety first. Expression became optional. Silence became protective. Freeze, shutdown, or disconnection became ways to stay intact when engagement felt risky. Patterns persist when they are misunderstood. If you judge yourself for shutting down, your nervous system senses more danger. The pattern strengthens. If you try to force openness, presence, or clarity, your system resists harder. Protection does not respond to force. Change begins with recognition. When you notice survival mode activating without adding shame or urgency, your system receives new information. Awareness creates space. Space allows regulation. Regulation slowly teaches your body that expression may be safe again. Survival mode is not the absence of strength, it is evidence of it. Your body chose survival before you had words. It learned to protect you in environments where you could not rely on support, understanding, or safety. That choice kept you alive emotionally. Reframing this response changes everything. Instead of asking, "What is wrong with me?" you begin asking, "What did my system learn?" Compassion becomes possible when you understand the function behind the behavior. As safety increases, survival mode no longer needs to work as hard. This does not happen through positive thinking. It happens through consistent experiences of regulation, choice, and support. Your nervous system updates through felt experience, not explanation. Small moments matter. Being allowed to pause, being met without pressure, not forcing clarity when it is unavailable. Each time your system shuts down and nothing bad happens, a new pathway begins forming. Relief comes when you stop fighting your biology. When you allow your body to move through states instead of demanding constant performance, intensity decreases. Survival responses shorten, recovery becomes faster, the system trusts itself again. You are not meant to be regulated all the time. You are meant to move between states and return. Survival mode becomes a temporary signal instead of a permanent identity when it is met with understanding rather than control. Integration means honoring the role survival mode played without letting it run your life. It means recognizing when your system is protecting you and gently offering it alternatives. Safety is built, not demanded. Expression follows safety, not the other way around. When your body learns that you will listen instead of override, it no longer needs to shut everything down to be heard. Presence returns gradually, organically, and without force. Understanding your nervous system gives you choice. You stop interpreting shutdown as failure and start seeing it as information. Information can be worked with. It can guide you toward rest, boundaries, pacing, and environments that support regulation. Empowerment is not pushing past limits. It is learning where your limits came from and how to meet them with respect. That is how survival transforms into stability. Empowerment is not pushing past limits. It is learning where your limits came from and how to meet them with respect. That is how survival transforms into stability. Your body has always been on your side. It chose survival when expression was too dangerous. Now, with awareness, you can slowly teach it that safety is possible again. Survival mode is not a flaw to fix. It is a story your nervous system tells about what it learned. When you listen instead of judge, the story begins to change. Your system doesn't need pressure. It needs safety, patience, and understanding. That is how thinking, feeling, and speaking return naturally. You were never weak, you were adaptive. Does this explain something about you?